echoing of ourselves speaking when YouTube kicks in, but I will know that's when we're actually up and running. The echoing of and ourselves
There we are.
speaking. We are live on YouTube as well, and so I can say good evening, everyone. This is the MBTA Rider Oversight Committee meeting for July 28, 2026. I am Stefan Wunsch. I'm the co-chair of the Rider Oversight Committee, along with my cohort, Wig Zamor. Want to introduce yourself, Wig, just
Yeah,
to make sure Mike's working?
yeah. Hi, everybody. This is Wig Zamor from Somerville, Mass. Longtime member, along with these other other three gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Len, want to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, Leonard Dickens coming to you from Winter Hill, Somerville.
Part of the new Winter Hill gang.
The
No.
Lenny Chill Gang. The Lenny Chill Gang.
Lenny.
Ooh, the Lenny Chill Gang.
I like that.
That's the new Winter Hill Gang. Yeah.
And Craig, want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Craig Laskowski, public member.
Thank you very much. Oh, and don't forget, I think, Craig, you are still officially the co-chair of the Marketing and Operations Subcommittee, for what it's worth. We don't want to let that go unappreciated.
It's appropriate. He has such a polished photo.
It is a wonderful photo.
It's running for state senate somewhere.
All right. It would be great if we had other folks, but we are the core, of course. Anyone want to start off with anything under the auspices of public comment? I haven't asked that of us in a while.
Oh.
And okay. Then is there anything on the first item of reviewing latest events and latest presentations that anyone wants to dive in to examine right off the bat? I've got a couple, but they're not big deals. But
Well, I want to back up and because I didn't put it on the agenda, but it came up a few months ago under public items when Wig asked about what was going on with the Charlie Car store. So
Oh,
we're
yes,
getting
please.
we're getting updates on that.
Oh, I haven't gone back. Once my card started working again,
All right.
I just decided to let it go.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
I mean,
no
I
worries.
love the location. It, as you guys remember, was just odd the way I had to schedule a meeting, but it turned out to be an immaterial issue.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm just curious, though. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'm curious. When you said it just started working, was there any action taken on your part, or did it literally just not work one day and then it worked the next day?
Well, it was working like half the time,
Interesting.
and
And it's been reliable since then?
Yep.
Interesting. Did you get the impression that it was something to do with the physical media that you were carrying, or something in the system, so to speak?
No, I couldn't tell what it was, but
Okay.
I did kind of carefully clean it off. Maybe that helped.
Ah.
Or it could have been just one of the local, I usually tap at Union Square. So it could have been just a local function in one of the machines there.
It's possible. Okay. Well, if you're not concerned about it, we'll move on. But
Yep.
absolutely, if you want to revisit that at some point, we're game.
No, it's been working fine again, and
Okay.
I'm impressed. I wish some of I wish there was some small change. I always wish GLX Union got to Porter,
Yeah.
and I also wish I think the biggest agenda item today. There wasn't much new stuff that I saw on the meeting agendas, but I think the biggest agenda item today is the bus network, and I think Melissa and others do a terrific job, but
Yeah.
I just wish the urban ring was was made real on Grand Junction. That's
Yep.
my one longtime wish.
Yep. I hear you. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we'll circle back to it
No, that's
today,
fine. No,
but
it's
but
fine.
um, during the subcommittee last 2 weeks ago, I did mention, and I'll touch on this briefly when we review the minutes, but I did touch on that the video took talking about the Grand Junction, and I hope you were able to view
Yeah,
that, all three of you guys, because I thought it, as I
yep,
said in the subcommittee, and I'll just review that later. I
yeah,
thought it covered all the
and
different
my
points very well.
yep, and my concern it is kind of touched off more now than at other times due to the Kraft Stadium.
Right.
It just seems ridiculous to me to have everybody walk
I
or
hear you.
shuttle bus from Sullivan.
I hear you. Yep. Okay. Well, we'll come back to the talk about the Grand Junction if time allows under old business. Um, Len, what was the first thing that you wanted to pull in?
That's it.
No, I mean like on the agenda item of the current events and recent presentations.
Ooh,
Because
uh,
if you're not ready, then I can pull in something that just happened today that ties into one of the board presentations,
sure,
if you
go
want.
ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Well, on the board meeting from July 16, which was 2 days after the last MBTA rock, which was our subcommittee, this was shown at the board. Here, I'll put it into the Zoom chat link and try to make this as big as possible. Um, and you might say, well, this was on the 16th. What's this tying in to? Because I just said the latest news. Well, that's where I bring in from
Yeah,
the MBTA press room, which you may have already just heard about today. This was all over local media today. This was posted today and out today. This
yeah,
is an extension of what was in front of the board on the 16th.
yeah,
So I hope I'm giving this justice, but if I read this right, the summary from the 16th was basically what we already have and sort of summarizing, yeah, the free Fridays, yep, the 50% discount, summer companion, zone
yep.
validity, great. I mean, all good stuff, but I don't believe there was anything new. Update on income eligible reduced fares, but the big breaking news today is that all of those commuter rail discount policies are going to go out to oh shoot, fall. Is it September? Where was it? Hold on. Let me cover the least important thing. November. November is the end of this 50%. And here, let me get this centered on the screen. Okay, so like I said, this is the least of the important of the breaking news from today because it's simply like I was showing before, it's an expansion in time for all the current promotions going up until November of 2026. Um, as a side note, I will just
I
point
think
out. Go ahead.
I think this is terrific, but they got to get the word out. You
Yes,
know,
and exactly. But
So it's,
as a side note, I just have to point out very quickly that this is going to November, which is the election cycle for Maura Healey as the incumbent candidate for governor.
the
so it's,
the other great,
Connection, maybe a bad connection. No, it's I think in my to be speaking for myself, and I hope you can weigh in as well. At a legitimate use of the funding. But go ahead, Wig, and then Len.
yeah. What I especially like about this is that we have high turnover in the summer, and a lot of new people here. By Labor Day. So I think the timing of this is good.
Yeah, I'll go with that. And theoretically, during the summer, it's the lowest of the annual ridership peaks. So if you were to target a time of the year in which you would be losing the least fare income by having discounts, the summertime would be it. Going through September, October, November, that's more of a loss of revenue because everybody's back to school, everybody's back to college. So September, October, November is going to be a lot more of a revenue hit. But I have to point out that the announcement did actually say where's the money originating, and it's coming from the fair share supplemental that was passed back in when was this? This was April, and it specifically called out in that fair share supplemental budget from 2026 the 20 million for the low income fares, and that is part of the announcement of where is this funding being sourced. But like I said, the commuter rail discounts is, I think, the least interesting of the three. So if you're ready, I mean, if you want to comment on the commuter rail part of it, extending those discounts that are in place now until the end of November, that please jump in. Otherwise, I'm going to move quickly to the next point, which I think is not even the biggest of the three, which is the 2-hour transfer window. This seemed to make the most media, and it's certainly their number one listed under the pilot. 2-hour unlimited transfer. So I'll just summarize for people who aren't able to see the screen. Currently, subway and bus riders can transfer only 2 times within a 2-hour time window, and you pay the cost of the highest price service. Only 2 transfers. This new pilot program is going to allow unlimited transfers within a 2-hour period. You still pay for the most expensive single part of that trip, but you can hop off, hop on, change modes, change routes, whatever, any number of times. That's pretty significant, I think, and that, I think, has the possibility of driving up some ridership. I don't know by how much, and I hope we'll find out about that. But
I don't know. I mean, it's like how many times does one transfer, in 2 hours? You know what I mean?
Well, for short errands, I think that's what the governor in a soundbite I heard was pointing out. Like hop on, hop off, do another errand to go somewhere else. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's not a transfer though. That's multiple rides within 2 hours. So is it you can ride the system as much as you want in 2 hours, or that you can do a transfer?
Good point.
Because multiple uses within 2 hours. Because I mean, it's kind of nice if you can go back and forth, in 2 hours, or get on the same route, that you're going on. Like you get off and then you get on the same route. But transfer is like you're connecting to a whole another bus line or another mode.
Okay, well, I will tell you this. On the soundbite I heard on the news this afternoon, I believe it was to give full disclosure, I believe it was the Channel 5 WCVB news at noon. It was either Maury Healy or Phil Eng, and I apologize, I forget which one of the two of them said it, but they I believe said specifically errands like hop on, hop off, like go multiple places. And I think the implication was multiple trips and not just transfers.
Yeah, there's an implication within this, the text, and so
yep.
So there can be a mismatch between the final reality, I should say final, between at least the immediate execution between what people are saying, and even what's written, but at least what's written is something you can go back to, and then I said ultimate, but I took that back because if people aren't happy with it and there's enough outcry, then they might even be able to change it, so that it allows multiple rides, within 2 hours, depending on the technology. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm very excited about this, which is why I'm sort of jumping all over people. I apologize for talking over folks. That it strikes me that the difference between a transfer and a new boarding is really uh, undetectable by the fare system, right? I mean, in other
Well,
words, if you
well, no.
transfer from a 111 to a, well, I'm just making up numbers that don't even necessarily merge, but if you transfer from a 111 to a 426 and then you get off the 426 and you get back on a 426, I don't believe the system could tell that being any different from going from a 111 to a 426 to a 119. In other
I don't
words,
know.
what's the difference between a transfer and just getting back on a second time for a different trip on the same route? I don't think the
Yeah,
system
well, yeah, I don't
can
know. I
track
mean,
that.
yeah, I think that might be the case for the buses, but I know with the subway, if you if you get on, I mean, like let's say Alewife, and you decide, oh, I forgot something, and you go out. I mean, if you try to get back in within 20 minutes, it locks you out
Is that on a
with your pass, with your
pass?
card, with your pass, yeah, with your card, with your
Is
Charlie
that with a
card.
monthly pass or is that
It's a
with
monthly
a,
pass.
okay. I wonder if
Yeah.
that's different for stored value because I believe
Well, no, it's stored
for,
value. You know, then you lose your money. Well, not you lose your money, but you spend your money.
well, I believe
This,
that's what they're talking about here is that you wouldn't pay additionally for the additional boardings within the 2 hour window.
Okay, so that's not a transfer though. That's multiple rides. Because
That's
transfer is specific, right? I mean, a
true.
transfer is a transfer. I mean that's a tactical description, right? I mean, a transfer is usually when you're going from one bus line to another bus line, not the same bus line, or you're going from one mode to another. That's technically a transfer, right? Can we at least agree with that? To that? Okay,
Yes.
fine, good. Okay,
Yes.
then at least we're talking the
but
same language.
the proof is going to be in the pudding here.
Yeah,
I mean, the way to figure this out is just
yeah,
to try it.
I
yeah,
think you're right.
yeah. Yeah, and it'll be good if it's like you can write the systems that you want for 2 hours. That's great. I mean, I support that, and I think that might give you more utility. I mean, I think it'll be on the margin though. You know what I mean? Because I mean, there's only so much you can do in 2 hours. So
Yeah.
yeah, especially with any distance. I mean, but for short trips, that could be good.
Yeah.
Um, and
There is one other big thing that could be considered alongside of that. I don't know if you guys read the Boston Harbor multi-billion-dollar project, but they're starting to deal with sea level rise.
Oh,
And
good.
this first step is going to cost a couple $1 billion, but that's going to be that's going to be followed by many such steps, right? Because total ice melt is 200 feet of sea level rise. Now that takes a long time, right? You got
Yeah.
two main factors: the Thwaites Glacier, which broke off a couple years ago from Antarctica, and is by far the biggest floating source.
Mhm.
But it's already in the ocean, so it's having some effect just by virtue of that. And then you've got all of Greenland, and so that's probably the big factor is how fast Greenland melts. But there will be no
yeah,
end of these types of projects in coastal cities around the world if if our energy provisions and consumption don't change.
yeah, yeah.
I hear
So
that.
yeah,
Yep.
so what was the next point, Stefan?
Oh, the next point is notable, but very quickly, just the elimination of the express bus route, which was 425 full fare. That's going to be just reduced to the standard local bus fare of
All right,
170. Great. Sounds like a good idea. I approve that. Based on the funding that's coming in for it,
all right.
we'll see if it's sustainable in the long term because once that funding for these pilots is gone. But I think the really notable one is the third one out of the fair pilots. If you are a Massachusetts resident who no longer drives a vehicle, you will be able to get a fare-free pass for, I believe they're talking about here, every MBTA service. everything, simply
Right.
by being 75 years older and a Massachusetts resident who no longer drives a car. And that
Ooh.
is phenomenal.
Oh, so you have to be 75.
Yes,
All right. Well, that's
yes.
good. Yeah.
And I believe, I mean, I'll just quote it right here.
Yeah.
The pilot allows any Massachusetts resident age 75 or above who holds a Massachusetts ID card and not a driver's license to obtain a fare-free credential that applies across all the MBTA's subway, bus, ferry, and commuter rail services. So again, you've got to have an ID that's a state-issued valid ID
Right.
and not a driver's license, which is the
Yeah.
way that they're going to basically enforce
Right.
you're not driving, and we know you're not because you don't have a license,
Yeah.
but you're a credentialed Massachusetts
No,
resident with an ID. MBTA for free anywhere you want to go if you're 75. Phenomenal.
yeah, that won't work because an awful lot of people have driver's licenses just for identification, not for driving.
Oh, sure. But if you're someone who's done with driving because of whatever reason, you now know that you can give up your driver's license, get a state ID instead, and then get the MBTA for free for the rest of your life. Well, as long as this pilot goes. That's
Yeah.
pretty astounding. I mean,
No, I
if you're
like that.
done driving for whatever
Yeah.
reason, you don't need a driver's license because
I
a
can
state
get it.
ID is valid for everything that a driver's license does,
Yeah.
except
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah.
Including in all other states.
I believe so, yeah. I think that's been well established for quite a while. Pretty
No,
sure about that.
that's a
Because
good.
a Massachusetts ID is still it looks exactly the same. It just says on it like not valid as a driver's permit, basically.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's good.
Um,
That's good. I mean, it might even incent people, to give up their cars, earlier, and
yes,
so and
exactly.
so
I think so. I'll jump in here.
Please.
They're all interesting, right? So two things. One I say I think it'll be interesting to see because we talked about number one there, the expanded unlimited transfer window. How many people are jumping on and off all that much, right? Like is that, are we and I guess that's why these are all unique, right? Because they're pilots.
Mhm.
So like I theoretically from the data 6 months from now, you'll be able to say, yeah, that helped about 10 people. I
Could
don't think
be.
they'll come out with a press release like that when they say 10 people, but that's when you'll find out whether it's quietly discontinued or they expand
Yep.
it because it costs them nothing because it's really not, it's same I would see. It'd be interesting to see with the car-free seniors, right? That I think I am sure there are people that will benefit from it. But how many, like how 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 many people will benefit is an interesting question, right? How many people are not
Mm.
already taking advantage of some kind of senior rate who have a thing? They'd have to find out about this, make a switch. There's potentially there's some work there that you might just say, I'm already getting the senior rate in the bus. I'm waived on half the time. Like, how many times do I really like? Is it worth me going through all these hoops to get it?
I
So,
get your
so
point.
I you can't argue against it. To your point, I think Stephanie, you're like, this is great. This is great. This is great. Sure, reducing costs for anybody is always going to be great. But how big of an impact each of these have, I think at first glance they seem fairly modest, which is fine. It just, but I think we just temper our expectations.
Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah.
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 I really like the elderly, incentive though. I mean, and I think the pilot may undercount because I mean it may only grab people who have already decided they don't want to drive, and and for
Right.
them if the pilot goes away, there's no risk mean to having given up their driver's license, but it'll give them some information, but the real benefit would be, for those who, the are still driving, and you can give them the more incentive to stop driving. And the free, versus 50%. That's a significantly more a greater incentive because that's wait 50% is what you get for the senior pass, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds right.
And um and so it's one of the things I wanted to say. I'm losing. I'm losing it. Okay, I lost it. Maybe it'll come back.
So Len, where I'll tie into it is what's because you mentioned how these are pilots. I appreciate that they bundle all the announcements together. I be yes, they all have the thread of a fair discount. The interesting thing to me is how different they all are, right?
Oh,
Like it feels a
Yeah.
little scattershot in terms. We got these three pilots over here. We have these three extensions over here. We got like it it it, it if I wanted to be glass half full, I would say, great, there's something for everybody. They've looked across the spectrum. They're trying to they get something for seniors. They got something for people who are heavy riders. There's something for people who like the express bus. They have something for commuter rail riders. So they're on the if I want to be glass half full, I say, great, they're covering a whole bunch of different use cases. If I wanted to be glass half empty, ex I would argue explaining this many things at a time, you're not going to get the public to buy in because they're just not going to they're not going to read through it like we're reading through it, right? That it's going to get something's going to get lost here because there's just too many things being announced. And what's your strategy here? Is your strategy like what like where are you going with this? What prompted you to do these set rather than this set over here? What was the it'd be interesting. How do these things all tie together in terms of your grand strategy of of what you're trying to achieve?
yeah.
Are these are they are these to drive more service? Are they to make things easier? Like what's the it'd be interesting to kind of bucket them and say like, oh, these are because it feels like the commuter rail ones to a certain degree
Mhm.
savings extended, right? That just feels like a sale on something that's not being used enough. Like ridership's down, so we're going to drive ridership. We're going to like this is no different than having a sale on a t-shirt. I made too many t-shirts, so I need to offer them off a sale versus the
Yeah.
one above it, the 75 or 75-year-old you turn in to get a discount. That feels like a different motivation completely, which has nothing to do with like are people using the system. It's more of a I want to incentivize 75-year-olds to not stop driving. Like they're just all over the map, which is so it's hard to. I'd love to ask somebody in the T like what was the thinking behind these, and if these are the ones you selected, were there ones you left on the cutting board? Did you choose to do this over the other one, and why?
Well, I mean,
But
I'm always interested in the ones that are left. I mean, and yeah, I don't know who knows the answer to that, but that's worth asking. I mean, I'm curious about that one too. Look, I mean, in terms of like what is the the broader picture? Um, um, Craig, I think for the public, the public's just going to look at the ones that are interested to them. And I'm fine with that because I don't think most people in the public are going to go like, what's the overall MBTA strategy, and policy, but I kind of like the idea, of trying multiple things, at once, and that can be your strategy and your policy. It's like, hey, we're going to try a whole bunch of things at once. There's no reason not to. I guess you could roll them out 1 month at a time. And then spend a lot of time explaining each one. And that's a point. But maybe they're all tied towards being some time frame for the pilots where they want to assess them all at once. That's it.
I
Yeah.
think
Wait,
you
go
can
ahead.
also look at it from just a market testing point of view. They're just throwing a lot of things out there, and they'll get feedback from what gets used the most. What resonates.
That's fair. Yep. And Craig, I have
No,
to give you
and I'm glad
credit.
you're flashing on this
Yeah.
on the screen, right? Because like if they have laid out a rubric here or
Right.
a set of standards, right? Like they're trying to balance those four things. And I could make a case that so I think that goes to my point on the buckets. If you go back to some of those, you could probably put each of those in a bucket, right? Right? Like we're doing this one because this one's going to drive more ridership. This one's going to drive more equity.
Yeah.
As long as we can kind of apply those against their pre-established um things that or goals, and they pass the goal sniff test, and they're not doing something that's way out left field. Yeah, they can try. They're welcome to try different things.
Yeah, very good. I got to give you kudos, Craig, because the point that you made about how is this all going to register, and I think I'm paraphrasing it correctly. How is the word going to get out to the people from the people that will benefit the most from this? That's a really good point, and I think that's worthy of asking somebody in the agency's engagement of,
Yeah.
has somebody at the agency thought about the pros and cons of mashing all of these together? Yeah, it makes it a more simplified messaging out through the media, because you're not hitting the media like, oh, hey, this week we got this, and then you come back for the press briefing for this one next week, and then oh yeah, come back again another week. No, I mean, you probably are getting more media attention and saying, oh yeah, this and this and this and this with one blast. But I hadn't thought of the point of, is it muddying the message? Are people going to miss one of these? Well, I guess there's three pilots and the November extension. Are people going to miss this? That's a great point, Craig.
It's also going to depend a lot on whether they have bold marketing. I mean, is every one of their customers going to see it,
Yep.
or hear it?
Well, from what I've seen, the MBTA, sorry, the commuter rail, which is MBTA, the MBTA commuter rail, publicizing the summer discounted fares. Where are we going? This one. That seems to have been really well done. It was all over. I mean, this is a screen grab right here. I don't know if you can make it out. This is from WGBH. That's the WGBH doing a, hey, hidden gem. I mean, so it seems like everybody I don't want to say everybody. It seems like the MBTA and lots of other community media outlets and community organizations are all teaming up to say, yeah, rah, rah, commuter rail discounts. Look at all this great value to it. So I'm optimistic that, the message would get out. Oh, before I forget, I think I may be buried the lead. Not buried the lead. That's not the correct expression here. The funding for this was specifically said as coming from, where is it? Darn it. Where is the statement of, hang on. I want to make sure I tie this in correctly. Isn't it right here? The funding is coming from the, darn it. I thought it was on this page. That's coming from the fair share supplemental. And I actually tied the budget numbers in. Hang on a second. Am I getting my PowerPoints mixed up?
Well, there was a presentation to the board made about the income eligible reduced fares, and that was linked to the fair share. So, and I was going to talk about that.
Okay.
But we've covered a lot of aspects of that. At this point already.
Okay.
But yeah,
well,
quick, really.
So quick question.
Go ahead.
Does this cover everything, or once again, because it's such a smorgasbord, does the fair share here cover just some of the just some of the helped to lower income folks?
Oh, I found it. It is the fair share is I found it. I had the wrong thing up. The fair share is going to these right there.
That's a different news release, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes, this was from last week.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this,
So it's only applying to the income eligible reduced fares program.
Right.
20 million is
right. But no. I was just trying to
yes,
make
I see your point. You're right.
I was trying to make sure they weren't spending that money on the commuter rail discounted monthly passes.
I gotcha. I see your point.
Because it's not that's not a
Right. Income
there are
related.
different motivations there.
Yeah.
That's not a income eligible
Right.
fix. That's
Right.
a trying to drive continued ridership on the commuter rail,
You're
which is a
absolutely
different
right.
Yeah.
which is a different thing.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we're
Good
not
catch.
spending. I want to make sure that we're not spending money to prop up the commuter rail out of a pool that it shouldn't be used to do that for.
Absolutely right. Yes.
And
Good point.
And to answer my question, I mean, about the usage, I mean, under the expanded 2 hour window, I mean, it is unlimited rides anyways. I mean, so you can go back and forth. I mean, so it's not simply transferred at this point. It's using the system as much as you want, any way you want.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where'd you find that?
It's in number one. I mean, so they give an example. For example, it's maybe the last 3 sentences. For example, a rider can take the bus to the subway, run errands, and return home within 2 hours while paying just one subway fare instead of multiple fares throughout the trip. So that's like you can go there and come back, I mean, with just one fare. You just have to use the same mode of payment. I mean, so you have to use like the same credit card or the same Charlie card or the same, you know, Google Play, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, which of course links.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
I'm really glad you found that, because I really thought that's what was the messaging from Healy and Eng during the press briefing. So I'm really glad you found that. Thank you.
Well, both are true at the same time, right? Like if you want to make 3 transfers, you can do that too. Like it's a it's your point earlier, stuff. From a system perspective, the system doesn't know a transfer versus not transfer. It just knows a usage anyways, right? Like so if I like, it's not smart enough to know. If I get off the red line and then walk over what's a line that doesn't intersect with, if I walk
blue line.
blue line, exactly.
Yeah.
If I walk over to the blue line and get on the blue line, it's not saying that wasn't a transfer. You can't do that because like those stations don't connect. It's just saying, hey, you're within a window of using it. You're good to go.
Actually, we learned back when AFC was rolled out, we actually learned that any physical fare gate system is tied in to the greater fare network, and there is actually knowledge between any fare gate system about when you used it last. We did find that out. So in other words, I mean, it's not going to restrict you under this new plan, but before this, if you had ridden the red line and then you went over to the blue line, I believe it would charge you separately. But it also knew that you had been on the red line previously, like like any other, like the fare gate dispensing machines. You could walk up and say, when did I use this last?
So it would say this isn't a transfer station?
I believe before this, if you left, like if I left MGH on the red line and I walked over to North Station Green Line and tried to get on board the Green Line, it would be like, okay, you're paying another 240, I believe, yeah.
Or like if I'm at Park Street and I accidentally go out the wrong exit and go back in to switch from red to green, it would count that as separate. Okay, fair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, the point being that we were told, and I believe this is still the case, that the mobile fare vending machines were not tied into the fare network in a live fashion. I mean, that they might be now, but we were told,
which is why you can't let people charge on the trolley, because you don't have you have to go through a fare gate to get on the red line, even though it's a transfer.
Yes, and
and
that's
it's
why
all a red line on a map.
Yeah, and that's also why you can't load a fare media on the bus, for example. You can pay with cash still, as long as it's working and you're on a as long as that's there. But you can't be like, I want to load my stored value card, feed in a 20 and go, load it on my car. You can't do that because that requires that the live data connection back to the MBTA data center.
Sure.
But you can do that at a physical on the ground because they're all wired in on the wired network. Anyway, I digressed. Sorry. But very good point. Yes. And again, thank you, Len, for calling that out.
Oh,
That makes me excited again. I was getting a little bit disheartened thinking about it as, oh no, maybe it's just transfer. No, it's it's saying it's basically a 2-hour ride all you want.
yeah. So back and forth, so
Yep.
that's good.
Yeah.
No, that'll help with any short trips, people running
Yep.
errands,
Yeah. Oh, and then sorry, I cut you off again. I'm just too
That's
excited
okay.
today.
Yeah, that's okay. I was done.
Okay. I just wanted to call it. I don't think we had mentioned this in the past that the fair share supplemental was 450 for the operating shortfall. I don't think that had come up in a previous meeting. Well, actually, no, it probably didn't because this was just in between our last joint subcommittees. So there we have it. So another 450 million for operating budget, which I don't remember what the number was for the shortfall. I don't know if 450 is the full amount, but we could look at that in the next subcommittees in September when we come back.
What was your question? You don't know if it was what?
The 450 that was dedicated to the operating budget shortfall. I don't know if that's the entire operating budget shortfall or a portion of it.
No, I
But
think that
we can.
I think that's pretty much it. I mean that's
Oh,
pretty
good.
much it. Yeah. So yeah.
That'd be great.
So and I think it gives a little padding to so yeah. So yeah, it's good.
Excellent.
So
Oh, I almost forgot. Just this is all the same material, but I just wanted to put the link out there as well. This is the official page for the fair pilots. The thing I was showing before was the press release, but they actually did put out a nice concise link, mbta.com/fairs/2026 fall fair pilots. And I think that's worthy of note as well, because anytime that there's something that's uh, notable, they should put out a nice short link and, oh, right, go here. Nice, quick link. You don't have to be diving into the long press release link. There's just something about long links that I think, and a wall of text that this is clearly not going to be useful for the general writer, but this definitely is. So there we go. If you can believe it, I think that's covered the primary stuff that came out of the news today, and like I said, that tied directly back to the board meeting. That also covered the fair updates. Where would you like to take us? Where shall we take ourselves next?
Well,
Rather,
staying on the income eligible reduced fares.
Yeah.
So one thing that was noted is that there has been a greater than expected demand for it. So they had a range, of anticipated demand, for it,
yep, I got it up on the screen even.
Yeah, and it's exceeded it. Enrollment exceeds high in the ramp up projections by 6%. So more enrollment still projected up to 60K, 65K under rider steady state. As they said, the state is providing this. The legislature's funding this. Which is good. They've been funding it, I think, from the get go. Which is really good. But more people are using it, and it's interesting. The usage pattern apparently is that people who use those cards tap 4 times as often as full fare cards, but they also tap more often the other half fare cards. So I wonder what it is about the riders who are getting those cards. If we have any other kind of demographic information, they kind of tell you where they're from, what the top 10 zip codes are. But we have any other kind of demographic information about them, and of course, the the other thing can be. It's just that those cards are shared because I don't think they are ID linked. And so it may be that the people who are getting those cards are just sharing them. Which I don't have a problem with me, but it would tell you. I mean, if you knew that, then you would say, um, well, I think it affect your conclusion about how many people are using the income reduced eligible fares, at a minimum, right? Because if two people are using the card, then that's two people using it. But if it's just one card, and you're saying, well, it's just one card, then you're undercounting the number of people that are using it. So I don't know if they can detect that.
Right.
So
Well, I mean, yes, you're right about the statistics, but I do have to take issue with what you said about I heard you say you don't have a problem with multiple people using a discount. I do.
Right.
No fare media other than 100% stored value is allowed to be shared.
No, that's not true. You can share pass.
No, you
Share
can't.
monthly pass. Yes, you
No,
can.
you can't.
Well, I think we went through this, Stefan, and there was no rule against it. Did you find any documentation on the T site that says that you can't? I can't give you my pass to use.
I'm pretty sure in the documentation it says that fare media, other than stored value, is non-transferable. I think it says it right on the card.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You want me to go grab my monthly pass?
Yeah.
I think that's been the case forever. You can't just get a monthly pass and hand it to somebody else and say, "Oh, okay, I'm not using it today. You go use it." Or I used it this morning. Now you use it this afternoon. That's a total cheat.
I guess I don't see the cheat, so because to me it's like, yeah. I mean, I can understand why you do, but I never did, and and I mean, I have done it so much, guiltlessly, but maybe illegally. But I thought we had looked at this, a while ago because I remember you having the same response as you are now, and then we looked it up, and it was, at the time I remember being conclusive that there was nothing written against it. But get your card. I don't have my
I,
card.
I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Sure.
By all means, continue without me.
Sure.
I'll be very quick though.
Actually, I found my card. So do not punch holes in this card. Subject to applicable tariff regulations and conditions of use. So that's probably where your clause would be. May be confiscated for misuse. So that's implying, that there are rules and that can be misused. But it doesn't really tell you what the rules are on the card. So that's from my card. So he left. But maybe he'll come to the same conclusion when he sees his card.
Well, Stefan definitely looks younger than Craig, but they both look good.
Anything you want to say, Wig?
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
So what part of Starkville do you live in?
I live at the beginning of Highland Avenue, so the Boston
Okay.
end.
Okay. All right. So then that would be, so I'm in Winter Hill, being you would be in, you're not in Cobble. No, that's not Cobble Hill. What part would
Well,
you be in?
it's a little below Prospect Hill.
Okay, so you're like
Yep.
Prospect Hill area. Okay, all right, got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, I got you. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like the official word?
Yeah.
Monthly pass, July 2026, Zone 2. Schedule and fare information, blah, 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 website. And on the edge, it says, subject to applicable tariff regulations and conditions of use, ticket may be confiscated for misuse, not replaceable if lost or stolen. No. Oh, I'm sorry. It says non-refundable. I'm sorry. I thought that said non-transferable at the end there. It says non-refundable.
Yeah.
So then I got to hit the website.
Yeah, so I see the same thing. So I saw that, so applicable use, your clause may be in there.
I'm
And
gonna have to
so
look now.
subject to
Okay,
applicable and
that's
conditions of use, so
yeah,
your clause may be in there, but it's not on the card,
yep. And I
and
think that's because it's possible to have stored value on there. And like I said, if you're doing stored value, yeah, it's totally allowed to take a stored value pass and like pass back and like have your whole family go through if you want to. Sure.
yeah, but I mean, look, you can't look. I mean, so I mean, the reason that they have the timeout on the passes is so that you can't hand your pass back to someone and let them do that. So you're not supposed to like let multiple people use your pass. In order to avoid paying a fare. At that time, so you're not going to have like two people riding on one fare. That's not allowable. And I'm not fine with that. That's like someone jumping the gate. But if I'm not using my pass today, I feel that I can give my pass to someone else to use it. You know, and I've never had a problem with that. And yeah, and I've never felt I've never heard that you can't let someone borrow your pass or you can't give your pass to
Yeah.
someone else. So like if I was like leaving town for half of the month, I could give my pass to someone and go, you know what, I'm not going to be using it. Here's my pass.
I think that the two of you should agree in background and send us a short
Yes.
written conclusion.
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
Whenever it works, no
Yes.
deadline.
Yes. So I'm hearing that as a move on, and I agree with that. So we can take this up at some other point. So anything else you want to discuss? Wait.
No. I'm okay with it continuing to be discussed. I just think that you're kind of you arrive at multiple standoffs during the discussion. That's all.
Yeah, no. I hear. And also, I mean, we don't want to just
It's not
monopolize.
it's not bothering me in
Yeah,
any way.
yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't feel that it was a aggressive response on your part or anything, but I think if I were in your shoes, and I were even interested in it, it's like it'll take you a while to figure this out. I mean, is there anything else we want to
Yeah,
discuss? Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to discuss at this point in time? And so let me ask Craig. I mean, is there anything else we want to discuss at this point in time, Craig?
No, the only thing I was going to bring up real quick was just the I don't know if anybody saw the I think it was state senators who came up with the idea of the Orange Line extension to Mattapan Square.
Who were they?
I forget the name. I'm the worst name person.
That's fine. No, that's fine. That's not, I hear it. No problem. Well, I'm all in favor of that. I hadn't really heard
Yeah,
about that
it was
until.
if you looked at the map, you could tell like this there was not a lot of it was not real well thought out. Like there was
Yeah.
no analysis of like, yeah, I don't know
Right.
if you can put a station there. Like it was kind of like line from here to here in stations. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was not thoughtful. But I am both frustrated that at least a little more thought didn't go into it,
Right.
but I am also I love the idea that they're coming up with it.
Yes.
Because it to me it is a massively underserved corridor.
Hmm.
And it's one of those areas where I just don't think we're thinking big enough to do. In particular, I'm thinking of Blue Hill Ave. Like
Right.
Yep.
we're gonna get a bus, we're gonna get a dedicated bus lane, and everybody's gonna say, "Hey, we solved the problem there. Aren't you happy?" And it's like, "Yep, is a dedicated bus lane better than no bus lane? Sure, but is it subway service? It is not." So I I would rather and I worry this is it like once you go down the route of dedicated busway, you're it's not to say you're not going to do a brand new subway project there in 2 years, but I feel like it kicks the can down the road further as opposed to doing a more meaningful project there.
Yeah.
Is this it, Craig? Oh, sorry,
uh,
Malden?
no, it's just south, Orange Line Extension south to
No,
Mattapan.
Mattapan.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I'm very much a both and person when it comes to both bus lanes being and subway, and the bus lanes being in terms of cost or minimal compared to a subway line. And I know you said 2 years, Craig. It would be more like 20 years.
I mean,
So
it would be 30. But what
yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
is
But I'm all in favor of getting started now.
For the end all be all. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, if you're gonna, if you know you have a project that's
Yeah.
going to do, if you're 3 years out from even getting the bus lanes in,
Yeah.
you're not even going to fund a study for an Orange Line connector until
Yeah.
after you go live with the bus lane, and then you test the bus lane for a couple of years and the whole thing. So you are you're you're kicking even the start of an Orange Line conversation down the road because you're spending your money on something else and waiting for that to come to fruition. So
Yeah.
so there is a cost, both a real dollar cost to doing it and a delay cost if you're ever serious about doing an alternative in that quarter.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly costs. I think we could be like push and not have push and forward and not have the delay made as they assess. I mean, the bus lane because it's like two different modes. And I think this. But my point though, Craig, is like I would like to see everyone who wants that to happen, to push forward in the conversation about the next
Yeah.
long range plan. Because I hadn't really heard about it until I think you brought it up maybe a meeting or two ago. Because I'd been all about okay, let's do the BLX to Lynn, and then do GLX two, to Medford, and then do RLX, to Lexington contingent upon Arlington and Lexington doing more housing development, to justify it. And then you say, well, what about OLX? And it's like, I never heard of that. So there it is. It'd be good to see people like really think about it, and put some study into it, and then come up with a 40-year plan. Because my three ideas were like a 30-year plan, which kind of goes beyond the current thinking of the next long range plan for the T. But I think it's fine to go beyond, 2050, and just really have a big view about where we want to take the system. Um,
Yeah,
anyways,
I've always had the dream of because that's where Mattapan is where Square is where the trolley ends.
Right.
That I would just turn the trolley straight up Blue Hill Ave and have it continue straight up the center lane as opposed to doing a bus and turn it into a green line.
I see. I see what you're getting at. All right.
And then
So,
your green line would still start your green line would still start at Ashmont. It would dip into Milton, go back in the Mattapan, and then go straight up Blue Hill Ave, and then eventually connect. I would even I'd have it go all the way to Nubian and connect in, replace the Silver Line, but
center
that's
line. Oh, I got you. Cool.
that's mine.
I get that. You see, I can't talk to it as easily as you can because I'm just not familiar with the
Yeah.
roadways down there. So
No,
usually,
I just get you know me. I've been harping on this for 10 years now. I get skeptical on I'm more skeptical than the rest of you on dedicated bus lanes. Like
yeah.
I know how Boston drivers work. They do it already. They pull over to get their Uber Eats and
Yeah.
they throw their flashers on in a lane of traffic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Well,
you should you should see where cars park on Sundays for church along Blue Hill Ave in some interesting spots and the center median. Like there's just local rules that apply and they've worked for decades. So I'm just I'm
yeah.
not making fun of the rules. I'm more saying it's going to be interesting when all of a sudden you take away a couple lanes on that road.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I'd favor center lane over anything. I think it's sometimes hard to pull that off though, than the bus lanes, but yeah, so it isn't simply a matter of skepticism regarding whether the bus lanes would work. I just think the center lane would be more efficient, um, partly because of you wouldn't have to worry about that parking issue, but also I just think it'd be more efficient even if the parking wasn't an issue, because also I think it'd be more globally efficient because it would allow the kind of better use of the whole roadway space because the parking, especially for delivery, is necessary, and so I see often conflicts with just delivery drivers in those lanes, because they really have nowhere else to go. You know, and I'm not talking about Ubers. I'm talking like delivery to small stores. Anyways, So then I was going to ask you, Craig, any thoughts about the bus network redesign? Anything in your area that is striking you from the
To be honest, I haven't looked at it in great detail. If
sure.
there's a particular area you want to route you want to pick up and want me to comment on, that I can take happy to take a look at it.
No, because I just don't know the area, so that's why I was asking you because you kind of know the area, and so if there was like something you were hearing
Yeah, sorry.
from, okay, that's fine, no problem.
Well, I think at this wait, what was in Craig's area? I think it's really just 44 and 18. That's about it, right? Or are we talking about what's not on this on the short term?
I hate to admit my geographical ignorance, after being up here for so long, but it's like, especially since COVID, it's like once you go like kind of
It's okay.
south of the Boston Common, it's like it's all one area to me. It's like
Don't worry about it.
like
I
Quincy, Milton, and
believe
Braintree. It's like, oh, okay.
I believe for what it's worth, it was oh, yeah. Well, here's Craig's neck of the woods for what it's worth. I don't know if you can see this, Len. It may not be relevant.
Yeah, I can see
Hold
it.
on, let me.
You can make it a little bigger even.
Yeah. So,
This is 2 years old though.
yeah.
But
So,
this
so
was
I guess, yeah.
go ahead.
No. So these aren't changes. Are these changes that are coming, or no? This is just a shift.
This was the everything under the sun proposed as of 2 years ago. Because the date of this image is 2024. But that's still what's posted. No, want me to pull up the
No, that's all right.
interactive.
I should take my own time to look at it and to
Okay.
Len's point and bring it back to this group if there's anything
Okay. Well, for what it's worth, the interactive map is still quite amazing. Clickable, showing proposed schedules. Everything that when I first looked at this, I said, "Holy cow, this is like everything you could possibly want from a planning tool or a visualization tool for a proposed plan." But again, this was a long time ago when this was first put out. But yeah, I'll put the link into the Zoom chat.
If you go back to or
Oh, sorry, hold on. Let me just grab the link
no,
so
never
I
mind,
can.
never mind. I should get moving, or I need to drop shortly, anyways.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, the link's in the Zoom chat, and it'll make it into the YouTube comments as well. All right, I'll wrap up that. Sorry for the distraction there.
No sorries needed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Was there more about the bus network redesign, or Len, or is it primarily about asking Craig for his neck of the woods?
It's primarily asking him. I mean, I need to do some more analysis with the data that Jonathan gave me. I mean, I'm still not sure how to approach Melissa or anyone in service planning because I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be a case of me reaching out and them making changes. Not that they would me, but being influenced because I reached out. I really want the numbers to kind of speak for themselves, and so I'm trying to figure out how to ask them, for the numbers, and we got some guidance, from the meeting, and so I just kind of need to figure out how to do that in a tactful, respectful way, but also one that isn't based on my connections because I don't want it to be because I knew someone, I got an ear with them.
I understand.
And I guess it can be, but then they don't give me like special treatment because they know me. I really I'm trying to figure out how to ask in a way that it could be anyone asking, and they would get the same results, so that's
Yeah,
it.
funny that you mentioned that, because
Yeah.
as a tangent, just to put it on the record, I reached out to Ryan Caholen, who's the chief operating officer, who used to be on the Rock as the commuter rail guy. And I reached out to Mike Rooks, who replaced Ryan as the MBTA commuter rail guy. And Mike Rooks had come to Rock meetings, I think, at least twice. It might have been 3 times in the past, and I just didn't hear back from them. They didn't respond back, which was disappointing. But it's vacation season. They just got through
Yeah.
the World Cup. Like, it was literally, I think, what, a week ago Sunday was the last of the World Cup games. So they were, going full tilt. I think it was July 9th was the final game at Foxborough. So
Yeah.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, hey, maybe they're on vacation with their families, and returning a call to me is not high on their radar. Okay, whatever. Disappointing. And I hope to hear from them at some point, maybe about talking with us in September, because I really do want to get a sort of a little bit of a celebratory, like, oh my God, we did it, from them. But also hear what's their lessons learned. So I'll probably poke them again, maybe midway through August. I've
Well,
got both of their mobile numbers, and I try not to overuse it, but
well, I mean, they may give an assessment to the board too, so we may get that information about how it went, maybe when they present to the
yeah,
board.
yep. I would like to be able to talk with them about, because some of the more nuts and bolts things probably won't come up in the board meeting. And I mean, not that we're really in a position to be properly judging nuts and bolts things, but I don't know if the board's going to be asking about, have you done any feedback on the uh what was the customer response to the messaging and the communications and marketing? That's, I don't know if that's going to get presented to the board. My fear is that the board presentation about the World Cup is just going to be, yep, we moved 20,000 people per game, and no train was behind schedule more than X amount of minutes, and no passenger missed any game. And I fear that's the messaging that we'll get for the board, and I'd like to see more.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
enough said about
Again,
that right here.
yeah. Well, I would say, maybe aim for them in the October meeting. It may
Sure.
be hard to get. Maybe hard to get a hold of people, in August, and so right after Labor Day, ask them to come to the subcommittee meeting, and make it clear that's a lower profile, more casual meeting.
Yeah, I understand that. I take the different tack with folks like that, because, well, at least for the topic of the World Cup, because I want to extend the opportunity to them to be recorded on YouTube for posterity, saying, yeah,
All right.
it went really well, and we did a lot of great things in a venue that isn't necessarily going to be the same old
Yeah, well,
I can't think of the right word.
You want to do more critical exploration too, and what I'm saying is that may be something that they're not comfortable with on YouTube. So I don't know if you can have both, man. But you know what?
Right.
I mean, it's your idea to invite them, so you invite them however you want, and hopefully you get some good results, and they'll show up to something.
Yeah. Point taken. Yeah.
I don't feel strongly about this. I just gave you that point.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Craig, I heard you mention that you might have to drop off soon.
Yeah. Anything else we need to cover real quick? Did you want to?
Yeah. Yep. Very, very quickly. I just wanted to point out that this went in front of the board last week, and I'm very thrilled, actually, at a couple of things here. I think he pronounces his name Angel. I thought it was Angel, but Angel Donahue Rodriguez is now an AGM as part of the External Affairs Department. External Affairs. And I'm really impressed to see that they've actually consolidated all of these folks under Angel. As we're seeing here, governmental affairs separate from South Coast Rail engagement, which I think is winding down. And then there's always been, I believe, a capital and public engagement, but now they're under one umbrella, which I think is the new part with Angel heading that up. And I don't know if you remember Angel Donahue Rodriguez by name, but he's been at God, I want to say he was running or present at virtually every Zoom public meeting from the beginning of the pandemic till maybe a year ago, either running the show or um, um, on the sidelines for outreach and community engagement. So having him as now an AGM in charge of external affairs, I'm thrilled, and I think he's now on our short list for folks to invite, because we've had him I think at least once in the past. I think it was before the pandemic, so we had him in person. So that's what I just wanted to show. Oh yeah, and they have a newsletter. They have a newsletter dedicated to the public engagement. So I'll also drop this in, and you can sign up for their public engagement newsletter right there. And I just signed up earlier. All right, so that was the only other thing that I wanted to mention. Craig, any thoughts or comments on that? I mean, it's
No,
just sort of informational.
Putting them all into the same umbrella makes a whole lot of sense, and under single leadership. So I like the direction they're heading.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, team, I'm gonna drop off.
Not a problem.
I'll talk to you next time.
September. It'll be September, Craig. Have a good rest of
Okay.
your summer.
Oh, so nothing August. Okay.
Nothing in
Yeah,
August.
yeah. August vacationing for us, unless I come up with some silly idea for like a field trip, but likely not. And
good. All right, so I'll talk to you in September. We'll go from there. We'll see. I gotta wait to see what my kids' school count.
Yep.
I'm an Uber driver when I'm not riding the T for my children. So we'll see what our fall schedule looks like.
Oh, I got you.
It's been
For the kids.
every year that goes by, it gets harder and harder to jump on these calls at 5 o'clock. So
Yeah,
I understand. Yep.
but we'll
Actually,
talk
Craig, real quick thing. When it comes to field trips, actually, my wife and two friends and I might actually come down specifically to ride the Mattapan high speed line. And if we do, it would probably be on a Monday, and you'd probably be working, but I'll give you a heads up anyway. The chances of us being able to like meet up.
Let me know if I'm around. I'd love to meet you in person. That'd be great.
Yeah, I will let you know, and there's no obligation in it. The connections might not be made, but I'll at least tell you in advance.
No. Yeah, and please come check out our fabulous trolley.
You betcha. Thanks, Craig.
Talk soon.
Yep. See you in the fall, if not sooner. All right. I've only got maybe one or two other things of note, but I've been kind of dominating the meeting more so than usual. Anything, Wig, that you want us to bring in or talk about which we could talk?
No, I'm good. I took a look at some of the bus routes. That seemed like the main homework for today. One tiny thing about looking at Foxborough and the soccer, natives don't use the commuter rail to Foxborough at all.
Oh.
It just kind of sits. It sits there. It's one train. It doesn't fill up. It's super tiny compared to everybody driving and carpooling and doing their cookouts and things. But I do think it would be interesting to hear about how the foreign visitors used it, because they would be the ones, if it was really used, they would be the ones who had used it. And it might have been interesting being someone working for the transit side of it, and how many different kinds of people they encountered. I think
Right.
I think the Scotsmen can hold their scotch well and their beer well, so I think they wouldn't have been a problem. But I don't know about the rest of the countries.
Yeah. Yep. it seemed like everybody it was at very least in a good mood, and
Yeah,
I
Boston
listened hard.
was
Go ahead.
super impressed with the Scotland fans.
Yeah, and I I kept an ear wide open for any reports of um issues on transit, specifically for the World Cup, and I don't think I heard of a single I don't think I heard of a single one from rowdy crowds. And if my memory serves correct, I think the sole problem that I heard from any media about the service itself was for the first game and maybe the second game, there was not a good coordinated uh system of directing people out of the stadium back to the commuter rail platform after the game.
Yeah,
I think I only heard that, like I said, it was primarily the very first game, maybe a little bit of the second one. But it wasn't a problem getting people into the right spot
yeah.
in South
That
Station. It
that
was
that
after the
makes
game, like,
sense.
yeah, because people were just coming out of the stadium all over the place. And wait,
Yeah,
where,
it
you know,
make it
they'd be coming out on the wrong side of the stadium completely, having to
right,
walk all the way
right,
around.
right.
I heard in the media that there were cases of people climbing over fences because they were getting a little desperate to try to get to the train, and they
Yeah,
were like, "There's a fence in the way. We got to go over this." I mean, that's putting people in
yeah.
harm's way.
It's kind
Well,
of off
self-harm.
in a corner.
Yeah.
You know, football is so overwhelmingly about tailgating that the commuter rail is kind of an afterthought. I mean, it would make sense to me. I hate that amount of traffic.
Yep.
Um, it
Yeah.
just seems like a waste to sit on the highways for
Oh yeah,
so
but
long.
we have to remember though that for the World Cup service, for all of that that huge increase in ridership, the station was I believe it was completely rebuilt with longer platforms, double track. Um, I don't have a visualization handy, but um, that kind of investment is definitely going to make the Patriots trains and any other special event train to that stadium a lot more of a smooth operation. I mean, guaranteed. I mean, it was a single track before, and now it's a double track station. I mean, it's it.
Well,
I don't want to say it doesn't get better than that, but I mean,
well,
having a double track 900-foot platform. Wow.
well, they may be underestimating, what they're going to get with the kids going to the BTS concert. So apparently they're running special trains out there. They're like, oh, we're going to football fans and soccer fans, but I don't know. Those
Um,
teenagers,
Yeah, but wait a minute. BTS stands for Boston Transit Service, right?
no,
No?
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I know
Okay,
what
all
boys.
right.
Yeah, yeah. I just yeah.
So what do you?
BTS Boston Transit Service. Come on,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
gotcha.
Come on,
Yeah,
come on. Yeah.
you know what BTS stands for?
Is I can't remember right now.
Behind the scenes.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, is it?
It's either scene or scenes, but it's
Oh,
behind the scene. Yeah.
okay. Actually, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. All right, now I'm getting distracted trying to find images of the newly reconstructed Foxborough train platform, and so I will skip that.
So even though I created the agenda, I don't remember. Oh, there it is. So anything else?
Well, we've already talked about uh research and guests. Oh, right. Let me pull in for the record that we had the subcommittee. That was the agenda from the subcommittee, and these are the notes that I took. So just so that's on record. Um, all three of us were there, so we don't need to recap in detail. I think it's good enough that I'm getting it onto YouTube for the permanent record. Oh yeah, I am looking forward to getting back in touch with David Stindell.
Yep.
That was the big for me, that was That might have been the biggest news from the subcommittee
Well, it's not
meetings
clear that
was,
he's going to be taking over, but we can say a fond farewell. Well, not farewell, but thank Miles Taylor, for his contributions.
Yep.
oh, absolutely.
He was great, very valuable,
Yep.
good guy. Hope he
Yep.
does well. So he'll be like he'll move up in the T if he wants to.
Oh, hell yeah.
Uh,
But for
Excellent attitude.
yeah.
oh yeah. But of course, just because I have it and I've had it open for several months, I just have to, periodically bring in because we love him and it's such a great photo. Miles Taylor,
And and and
I love that. Cambridge Day, Miles in Transit, YouTuber. So great. I love that photo. I haven't closed that tab since he first told us about that newspaper article back. What was that, in the spring? Okay. We've got the notes. Okay. Right. I mentioned the Boston by Rail doing the Grand Junction, which I thought was really well done. Oh, right. I need to put that into the Zoom chat so that it'll make it into the formal record because that was a big part of our discussion. Yeah. All right. So coming back to any other agenda items, um, probably not today, but at some point, maybe for our next joint committees, we might want to tear into in more detail the breakdown of the fair share supplemental budget, because we were talking about this earlier, the deficiency fund replacement, income eligible. This actually breaks it down for the zip codes where the income eligible
yeah,
reduced fares are
right.
primarily being used. The capital allocation, I don't believe, is broken out very much, but repairs to track and other waterway infrastructure upgrades stations, yet nothing really earth shattering there. That was kind of a very light on detail. But there you have it. Oh yeah, in the GM's report, um, he mentioned the heat wave with back-to-back 100-degree days.
I don't think that happened.
What's that?
I don't think that happened. I think it was projected to happen. I don't think it happened.
Oh,
Let me go back and see if I can find out. So yeah.
okay. Yeah, please. I mean,
anyways, but no, I'm sorry, I distracted you. I thought you were going to say that, but anyways, what about it?
no, I'm just going off of the slide deck. It, I don't think I saw any commuter rail speed restrictions because of the heat. And in years past, I could be wrong, and I forgot. But before tonight, I forgot to dig back in all of the T alerts and try to search for anything about commuter rail, speed restriction, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think I heard of any. I could be wrong, but um, that if in fact there weren't any with multiple 100 degrees, or certainly in the high 90s, that would point towards a much improved state of good repair. It seemed like, especially back in the 2000s, 2010s, seemed like anytime there was a hot day, we would hear about, oh yeah, commuter rail restrictions
Right.
on the Worcester Framingham line. I think that was the most notorious one. Um, I haven't heard about heat speed restriction in ages.
Yeah.
I will aim to dig more into that.
No, it seems like it did happen. So
Yeah, you've got a few.
no, I'm talking. No, that they hit. No, that was 2 days in a row.
Oh, you mean with that temperature hike? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I thought it had missed it, and for some reason I thought maybe the fires, the smoke from the fires had prevented that second day from happening. But I think what happened, I think I'm getting it mixed up with another heat wave. So like the third day of a heat wave didn't happen because of the smoke from the fires. And you
Right.
probably remember that day, huh? Where it was like really dark the whole day. You could barely
Yeah.
see the sun, and not just
Also, yeah, really weird color
oh
too.
yeah, really weird. It was just like yeah, it was like this kind of orange color. It's
It
like
was.
it was just eerie.
The the funny thing was, um, at least for me, with my 5-year-old iPhone, and even a 5-year-old iPhone, I had a really hard time getting an accurate picture of all of the yellow and orange cast to
Yeah.
outside because my phone was color compensating for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I took about 5 or 6 photos before I could actually get my phone to show the orange because the
Right.
Yeah.
phone was just saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, this is all orange. This must be a mistake. I'll color correct." So,
Right.
like the first 4 or 5 pictures I took, they looked completely normal in the photo that I took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I finally was able to get one that, and I sent
Yeah.
it to a couple people and saying, "Wait a minute, I don't own an orange car. I own a white car. What's going on with that?"
Yeah. We could probably all be top models now, with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
computers correcting everything.
that's about right. Yeah, I was just, I mean, I knew that most of our devices with cameras will do a white balancing, but I had never seen it to that degree.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking outside and it's apocalyptic, and I'm looking at my phone and it looks completely normal with the
Yeah.
photo I just took. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever seen that before on my own devices.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm glad we're out of that. Um,
At least for now.
we at some point we should. I didn't really read the details because there's a lot there, and I'm forgetting where we had been to know where we are now for the elevator and escalator contract. I know that 10, geez, we've been doing this for 20 years. Rider Oversight Committee. Um, I know I remember elevator and escalator issues
Oh yeah.
were
Time.
I don't want to say horrific, but I'll say significant issues. So I think I'm going to completely skip over what was put in front of the board for that maintenance service contract because before I talk about that, I need to refresh my memory of, again, where we were.
Yep.
I mean, the only thing that's really a look back, I'll just pull this in because it was in the presentation and I'm looking at it. There was this one slide, and I'll just blow this up. Remember back in the bad old days?
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it was that, but I mean, 94% out of how many elevators and escalators did we have? I remember this was the beginning of the time period where it was, or this was around the time period like 2005 when it was pretty bad.
Yep. Yeah. There were
Anyway,
some great
that's
stories.
oof. Yeah, in fact, actually, just it was within the last month at work. Just talking about technology in general. One of my colleagues just kind of jokingly said, "Yeah, I love escalators because when they break, they can only become stairs." And I said to him, no, 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 no. That's not true. If an elevator breaks and it just becomes stairs, that's good. But and then I pulled up the video from Back Bay about, I think it was like 3 years ago when the elevator failed and it sent everybody going backwards.
Yeah.
And there were, I
Yeah.
want to say, half a dozen injuries because people just
Yeah.
piled up on top of each other. And
Right.
yeah, so yeah, elevators failing, becoming stairs. No, no, not
Right.
that simple. Okay. Well, I'm aware of the time, and I do not see anyone watching on YouTube at the moment. So, unless... Oh, right. Uh, what at the beginning of the meeting, I myself said, we'll come back to that under old business, but now I've forgotten what it was. Rats. Let me see if I can find it.
How you doing, Wig?
No complaints.
All right.
Well, I don't remember what it was that I said. We'll come back to it in the under old business, so I'll let that go. Len, do you happen to know if Jacob is still reachable from the same email address as always?
Um, I think so. So I
Okay.
yeah. I've tried. I tried following up with Tim 3 times. After his last visit with us regarding, the um battery electric battery EMUs.
Yep.
Twice by mail and once by text. And I haven't heard anything from him.
Okay, no sweat. I
So
might drop him a note sometime in
yeah,
August.
yeah. So feel free to try to reach him.
Yep. Yeah,
We
I
haven't
think
we haven't heard anything from the astronomer in a while, right?
who's the astronomer?
Well, maybe I'm getting my state agencies mixed up, but didn't we have somebody working in Kendall Square?
Oh, James.
Yeah.
So yeah, so James is still like posting to the website. So I contact James twice a month, meaning to post our agenda. Yeah, but he is. I think he's in the. Is he in the UK? Is he out of country? He might be out
oh,
of country now. He was in New
Okay.
York, but I think he's now like out of country.
Year,
Yeah,
years ago, he was in Kendall.
yeah.
Um, there is a big. The reason I thought of him is there's a big new space satellite that's being prepared to go up. That's right now there's two quite good, uh, quite good telescopes, but there's going to be a new one that can do some stuff that neither Webb nor the other most advanced telescope can do. So that might be interesting.
oh, cool. And is that I missed the connection to Kendall? Is that because the operational headquarters for that is Kendall Square?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's these things around MIT that don't get in the news too often, but they tend to be pretty cutting edge.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, I'm fairly close, and I kind of trip over those things from time to time, in part
cool.
because they interest me. But um, yeah, that's what made me think of that. Especially, I probably mentioned this to you guys before, but if I have time, I check SciTech Daily every morning, and they just have some staggeringly interesting cutting edge papers that are abstracted. Whether it's biology or astronomy or almost anything, they have some. I don't know how such a small group can find these things, but it's always interesting. But of course, you can't digest them all because they're all kind of new wings of science, and
Right.
and, and there's other things I'm supposed to be doing.
Like what, Wig? What's more important?
Well, that's a good question. Well, like having a bank account for one thing, that
I
would
see.
help.
Oh, don't go robbing any banks, all right? And
No, I won't. But I do remember that if you want to rob banks in Harvard Square, all you have to do is cause some traffic jams,
Yeah.
which is pretty easy.
huh. So it's interesting. and I'm been going through the weather underground site and looking at high temperatures in July, and from the east, from Logan
It
Airport.
feels like it's been a hot summer to me for this area. I mean, it's not like New Jersey 50 years ago, but or 60 years ago, but it's still pretty hot for New England, for coastal New England. I also think that we are benefiting from years of attention to things like the track quality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, knock on
absolutely.
wood, but it just seems markedly better with regard to the incidents frequencies. So, shout out to the people who've done that.
Absolutely. I have to admit, I am scanning very quickly in the T alerts for heat-related speed restrictions, and there were a couple, but
Yeah,
not
not too bad.
very widespread from what I'm seeing. I gotta double check my subscriptions.
Yeah. One other thing I thought about in the meeting, but I didn't want to disrupt it, is when you're talking about Mattapan,
Yep.
if you're on the Massport CAC, people hate jet noise all over the region, very
Yeah.
far out. So the Massport CAC meetings actually get all over the place. They get out to Hanscom, they get down to Mattapan and Quincy. They just end up all over the place if they're not just online. Um, so
well,
that's kind of interesting.
all I can say, Wig, is that I kind of love it when the jets are going over Winter Hill or nearby at nighttime
Yeah,
because they help me go to sleep. So
yeah,
I kind of listen to one jet and as it goes off in the distance, I'll hear a second jet coming up, and I rarely
yeah,
get past three jets before I'm just like gone.
yeah.
And when
They
it's quiet, maybe I can hear some traffic on 93, but it's not the same like having the jets. So it's like quiet and
right.
like what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm the same. I never overdosed on rock and roll music in
Yeah,
my earbuds, but for some people, it's torture at very low noise levels,
yeah.
much lower than decades ago, which is surprising given how noisy transportation and machinery and manufacturing was. But right now, it's irrecoverable.
Yeah, so I am I see July 3rd as 100 degrees, and, and I see July 2nd as 99,
Yep.
and July 1st
Yeah,
as I'm just not seeing. So July 1st is 90. So we had a heat wave. I'm just not. So according to Weather Underground, we didn't have two back-to-back days for 100 degrees. So I don't know what to make of
yeah,
this.
that makes sense to me. And even when it's been hot,
Yeah,
it's not all day long. So as long as it cools off overnight, that seems reasonable to me. But if it's a problem for other issues like species diversity getting a lot less and
right.
long-term long-term sea level rise and long-term heat issues,
Right.
that's a different matter.
That's
But most
true.
people are, most people focus on how they're feeling short term, even though long term tends to be more important.
Right. Well, we're
Yeah, I
certainly
think that's
fortunate
human
here,
nature.
in the U.S. that we have, and we
Yeah,
even have fans. Like a person I
yeah,
know who has moved over to Germany, and they're dealing with a heat wave. They don't even have fans. I mean, it's like it's one thing not to have mean, air conditioning, but they don't
Right.
even have fans.
Yeah, that
Like,
seems surprising.
yeah, I was
I just use fans. Years ago I had an air conditioner, but now I just use fans.
yeah, no, I prefer fans myself. Yeah, and just a little air movement helps a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Until there's a humidity point reached. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, we're talking. You see, I forget. You got to remember, Wig. We're talking to Stefan, so anything over 70 is like kind of hard to take. Yeah,
If the humidity's up there, yeah, I mean, I could be uncomfortable if it was 70, indeed.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
But that's only if it's brutal humidity.
yeah.
Well,
All
I
right,
think we can wrap it up. I
I didn't wrap
don't
it up.
have anything else for tonight.
Yeah,
I think we did a great job covering a lot of material.
yeah. Well, thanks for bringing up the news release. I wasn't aware of that. So
Oh, my pleasure.
those pilots are really very interesting. Yeah, I'm loving them. Yeah,
Sorry,
and
say the last part again.
I love the pilots. It'll be interesting to see how they are. They, they're supposed to run, I guess, to the end of. Well, I'll go to the page to see how long they're supposed to end because it's not clear to me if CPS is going to have to do an equity analysis on these. So because the pilots run for a certain amount of time, then it becomes a service, and then it has to be like analyzed to see, if there's an equity disparity, you know, and
Let me go right back to that page. It's right here in the There it is. No, that's the wrong link. Should have been this one. Go into effect September, and I think it said 6 months.
6 months is usually threshold for having
Let
to do an equity analysis.
me go back to there was the official news release this fall. Yes, so the unlimited transfers, 6 months. The reduction of, well, I guess it's elimination of express bus fares, 6 months. And, the car-free seniors free transit start date has not been announced yet. I'm glad I went back to look at that. That might be pending final development of the internal procedures. I wouldn't be surprised. But there you go. So 2 out of the 3 pilots, September 1st, 6 months, and pilot date of the 75 and older not driving to be determined, and the length of time not mentioned here.
Yeah.
And the commuter rail discount extended through November. And if I understand the use of English language, that means up until November 30th. Through
yes.
November.
Yeah.
Yep.
It might make more sense to not have the senior discount be car free because people might with a good discount people may realize, well, it's easier to use the T and maybe I should give up driving.
You
But
don't think that
anyway.
the 50% senior discount that you currently have is
Oh, I think it's
pretty good?
great. Yeah, I think it's excellent.
No, but having to give the car, it kind of forces the issue. Let me rephrase that. It increases the level of commitment to being car free.
Exactly.
And what that does too is it changes your approach mean to going from point A to point B. As a person who just like uses the T, or walk to go everywhere, it does really change your approach, to how you move around,
Yep.
and it's a different mindset, and and dare I say, it is one that is less energy intensive. So even though you're using public transit, you're just not gonna go from point A to point B by vehicle as much when you don't have a car. And to the extent using a vehicle is energy intensive, public or not, then it becomes a less energy intensive approach to life. And so I like it from that perspective. And look, I mean, I don't feel as if my life is any less. If anything, I kind of feel that it's better. I mean, in a way, it's kind of calmer.
Yeah.
I'm more selective about what I
Yep.
do. I feel that I get to think more, because of the way I move around, and
Yep.
and I think like when you have the car as an option, I mean, what happens is that you use it when the weather conditions are bad, you know. But then it doesn't take long, I think, before it's like, well, the weather conditions aren't ideal, so I'm gonna use the car, or it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna like do this trip that I wouldn't normally do, but I have the car, I'm gonna do it. So it's a different approach to life, and
Yeah.
so I'm kind of glad to see it. I mean, I think potential downside, is for seniors who may have social connections, meaning that aren't nearby, and so it may hurt on that end. But I gotta tell you, I mean, given the things that I'm learning about our reaction speed as we get older, it's a not a good trade-off, I think. So, but
Mhm.
anyways,
Well, I wasn't going to mention this, but I'll just mention it because you said, the possible social isolation factor. Um, we don't know if ride services would be included. It's not spelled out here.
right.
Because it's talking about fare-free credential, and I'll just highlight it because I have it on the screen. Fare-free credential that works across bus, subway, ferry, and commuter rail. Well, I thought paratransit is mandated for a certain distance surrounding all of those service areas. So is fare-free paratransit also going to be under this? If
Well,
that's
go
the
ahead.
case,
Go ahead.
yikes, that might be a huge uptick in the ride services. And as we know from prior experience, what's the ride, like a typical paratransit ride cost? Like something like $9 or $10 per trip or
Well, I
more?
mean, well, I think the fare recovery ratio on the paratransit is very low. I
Right.
mean, so the trips cost a
Oh,
lot,
that's right.
but
It's more than that.
what the T recovers from it is not a lot at all. I mean, and so I don't think the T is going to be
Oh,
losing a whole lot on
no, but
paratransit.
but but the usage might go way up.
Well, the usage might go way up, but still, if the T is just like recovering like maybe $5 or something, I mean, from the ride. So then, me is a T going to be paying these services for that extra? That's a good question. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. And do they have to fall under this pilot? That's a good question. I don't know.
Hmm.
They're not mentioning them. Normally,
Exactly.
my understanding is that, I mean, you have to provide the same service to paratransit. So that's a good question.
How
And
long is this going to last?
Doesn't say right here. The two out of the three pilot programs, and I guess you could say the commuter rail savings is also technically I guess it's really a pilot, but not really. They all have ending, but the car free senior,
Yeah.
no fare for
Well,
transit does not have an end date or a start
yeah.
date yet.
so the thing to do is to have somebody who's analyzing this come chat with
Yeah,
us in 3 months or whatever is the appropriate time.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, and it occurred to me in the middle of the meeting that um, when this program starts, someone who decides to give up their driver's license to just have a Massachusetts ID card isn't prevented from going back and getting a driver's license again. You would most likely just have to pass the driver's test, which for somebody who's over 75, it's probably not a bad idea. You know, in other words, if you're 75 and you give up your driver's license for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and then you say, "Oh yeah, this isn't really working for me. I got to go back and get a driver's license." Yeah, it'd probably be good to have you get a road test at age 79, 80, and just instead of assuming that you're okay to drive after having not done so for a couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's just age. I'm saying it's the combination of if you gave up your license and you haven't been driving and you happen to be of that age, the combination of the two, yeah, you probably should get a driver's test. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's just a passing thought. And we just passed 7 o'clock,
Okay.
so I don't want to hold us any longer than necessary. We've covered a lot, and thank you, gents.
Take care. Have a good August.
Yep, enjoy your vacation, and
Who knows?
I'll email
Maybe
if anything comes up. I'll put it out on email.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep.
Be well.
Take it easy.